Hey, everybody, on this episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers, we are celebrating 1 year of being your ultimate funny teacher podcast. Thank you so much for supporting. And we are also going to talk about veteran teachers. Are they getting the respect they deserve? Also, a school district was offering $500 to substitute teachers. That's weird. And then a parent complains about a teacher that hates her child, or is it something else that's going on behind the scenes? Tune in to this episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. Hey everybody, this is Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. My name is Devin Siebold. Got my good buddy, Mr. James Yon, sitting next to me. And we are your, hopefully, laugh on the way home from your stressful work day as a teacher. I know you're out there. We're in that weird moment where Halloween has just kind of happened. Thanksgiving's coming up. The Thanksgiving gives you a little taste. It's like, hey, here's what freedom is like. But it's not really a taste of freedom, because then you have to go home and be with your family, and they all bring their, snotty-nosed nephews and nieces over, and you're back in the classroom all of a sudden.
It's a potluck of COVID.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And then you get that 2 weeks in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then you get the salvation of literally 2 weeks of, hey, we're off.
Yes.
I can finally have a break.
There you go.
It's always wild. I know that in that 2 week span between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I always showed It's a Wonderful Life. And
good movie.
I loved it. And it was funny too, because teachers always try to make something about, you don't want to just show a movie.
No, because that would be wrong.
Yeah, but I always showed this one, and I showed it multiple reasons. I showed it because it really gave the kids, I thought, a great grasp on what to value in life, and to feel better about themselves, and a little bit of confidence, and hopefully, unfortunately, suicide is a big thing among teenagers, a rising problem.
It definitely
is.
is.
This is something where they can go, you know what, you matter. And that movie to me is so timeless. I would always have students, I'd press play, it'd go black and white, and I'd hear, and then I'd go, just watch. And then literally 2 hours later, like clockwork, they'd go, oh my gosh, what is this?
I gotta interrupt.
Oh, what is this?
Happy 1 year anniversary.
Hey! Look at that. 1 year anniversary.
Look at that.
Thank you.
1 year.
You don't want the cake back, right?
Hurrah! Hurrah!
Yeah. We are at 1 year.
Teachers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
this
nice,
is awesome,
man.
This is great.
What
What are you going to eat?
I don't know.
I love it. And you guys even went with the vintage car, because we know teachers can't afford new models.
That's true. That is true.
I love it.
Plenty of room in that car, though. That's funny.
We've been podcasting much longer, but it was our 1 year together.
Yes, absolutely. 1 year with
That is awesome,
the
man.
awesome team here.
Put it right here. Look at that.
Board teachers and brain crumbs and everybody involved.
Nice.
So thank you all for listening for 1 year. I was going to mention that, but hey, there it is. And,
I'd like to thank the Academy.
I'm getting a little verklempt.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Postmodern revolution.
Discuss.
She's like butter.
Right. Well, yeah, thank you.
Also, that came out last Halloween.
Thank you.
Look at
It is
this,
man.
man.
Awesome, man. You guys remember?
And
We got plates and cuts over.
gotcha.
Thank you so much. That's great.
And the worst part of all, I never learned to read.
If you're not laughing with us at that stuff,
Come
then
on.
you need to take this podcast and pause it.
Yes.
And then go watch some of the greatest movies of all time.
That's right.
And Saturday Night Live, of
Yes.
course. But yes, that's huge.
That's,
Thanks
man,
so much
no,
for
no.
that.
Let
And-
me just take a little time to say this and
Sure.
give you your flowers, Devin. Thank you so much, man. You didn't have to bring me on this show, but you have. And I've had nothing but a great time ever since you brought me on, man.
Thanks.
Thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Yeah, I love our listeners, the positive comments that we see
Yeah.
on YouTube, on Facebook, and all over the place. You guys have been So supportive.
They
I mean,
have.
our listenership went through the roof when we brought on board teachers and they brought on us. It was a mutual kind of cool partnership to
It's been great.
benefit everybody. And I
Yeah.
think it's gotten it out to people who normally wouldn't see it.
That's
and
right.
Getting a little bit of laughter. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have been great. Thank you for the follows and the messages you guys give. You guys share.
Yeah.
Okay? I didn't know that. They got pain and
Yeah.
they share it with you, man.
They do, and that's the thing. I love hearing teacher. Sometimes I'll be honest, I get messages from teachers, and I click on it, and it's and I'm like, oh, that's a novel.
Yeah.
Now I will
Yeah.
say this: at first, when I used to get those, sometimes I go, oh man, that's a lot. Mm-hmm. But then I also go, they took a long time to type that out.
Yes.
I'm going to read every line, and I'm going to respond to it and give it the proper attention that it deserves, because I'm like, this is somebody who's clearly venting and they've got a lot on their mind and a big situation, and sometimes I can bring it up in the podcast and try to help.
Yes.
Sometimes the best I can offer is support, advice, or you know what, I'm listening, so thank
Yeah.
you obviously for people that reach out and have
because they're like, man, I don't even have the time to write this, but I
Right.
am.
Right.
So that's why I take it so serious, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna read it because I'm your ally. I'm one of the parents that get it.
Yeah,
Because I
know.
get a lot of stuff about parents when they send it to me, and I definitely understand that.
yeah, mainly because they hate you.
Yeah. But
They're like, give me your phone number, I'd like to call you right now.
no, but you guys have been nothing but great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what was I talking about? I don't even remember.
You were telling me that I'm getting a raise, and I was like, oh, that sounds great.
Actually, no.
I don't mean I'm bragging my car.
A little bit
Yes.
on your face, too.
Yes.
No, I don't remember what I was discussing.
I'm on, what is it? It's Tuesday for us today. I'm on day 30. 75 Hard, my workout program.
Nice.
You do it every single day. I have not cheated. I've stuck with it. I'm working out twice a day, 45 minutes, drinking a gallon of water, reading a nonfiction
What?
novel every single day. This is day 30, man.
See, I've put on a little, and I'll be honest with you, when you told me you were doing 75 hard, I was
Yes.
like, well, I think I can do 75 cookies a day. And, and I'll tell you, around cookie 60, I was like, man, this is difficult.
How does James do
I
it?
don't understand how he's doing this. And so, yeah, I'm good. But yeah, so congratulations,
Thank you,
by
brother.
the way. That's
Thank
huge.
you, man. It is.
So this is mine.
Oh, that is yours because
Wonderful.
my wife watches. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish I knew what we were talking about. I'll tell you what, on the next episode, maybe
We'll go back.
We'll discuss it, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk about one thing I know for sure.
Okay.
I got it in front of me. And the one thing I wanted to talk about this time is a teacher of the year came to our show.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And it was awesome meeting them.
Okay.
They were great. It was one of the Connecticut shows. Mm-hmm. And they were an amazing person.
Nice.
They were young and vibrant and full of energy.
Had to be. Yeah.
I go online and I type in teacher and I look up news to share, and I see teachers of the year, teacher of the year, teacher of the year, teacher of the year, teacher of the year. And I click on them, click on them, click on them, click on them, and I just want to see. And it's young and vibrant
Okay.
every single time. And I just have a question, because I don't see older teachers winning teacher of the year. Yet they are busting their butt just as much, sometimes far more than the younger teachers.
Okay.
I also don't see any benefits of being a teacher long term anymore. It's going away.
Really?
Yeah. And what I mean by that is I sit here and I look up as I read new teacher bonus, new teachers increasing pay, new teachers this, new teachers that. We're reimbursing new teachers for getting the test done. We are new teachers can come by and pick up their brand new packet, and we have a sign-on bonus of 10 grand. And I just go, what is the benefit of being a long-term teacher anymore? And by the way, I want to preface this. I'm not talking negative about the new teacher of the year.
No.
She seemed amazing. And
Yeah.
she was obviously loved her career very much. I'm not saying she's not deserving of it. She is. I'm saying, statistically speaking, as I go through these teachers of the year, all I see is or young teachers. I don't see any old teachers.
So you're saying there's no incentive for a teacher that's been doing it for 30
No
years?
pat on the back. No
Nothing.
thank you. No nothing. It just...
When you were a teacher, was it that same way as far as teacher of the year? It was always that way.
I mean, I honestly thought that sometimes new teachers were considered more for the teacher of the year time, because it was something that we'd want to A, use it for encouragement, or B, they were coming in with new ideas straight from college, and everybody goes, wow, look at them. They're rapping with their class. Our old teachers don't do that. No, they don't do that, but they're responsible for 99% of the graduation rate for the past 20 years. And maybe they should have some acknowledgement too.
That's true.
For what they've been doing and adapting and it's just, I mean, to me, this was kind of a weird thing, but when COVID hit, I had almost a seamless transition. Oh, we're going on Zoom? I know Zoom. Okay. Hey, Google Forms? Got it.
Yeah.
Let's work with, we're working in Microsoft Teams. I'll figure it out.
You knew it.
Hey, this webcam isn't working. You know what? I just need a new webcam. This one isn't compatible. This one's 1080. I gotta get a new one. And I gotta get this external mic. And I can't use a regular mic. I have to make sure that it's a directional mic because I don't want the ambient noise. And I knew it because I'm young.
Yes.
And the grays in my beard say otherwise. But I grew up in technology.
You did.
I applaud the older teachers that did not grow up in the technology for being able to adapt to the online space.
You said the right word.
Yeah.
Adapt.
Yeah, it's not easy.
You'll get left behind. Even if you're not a teacher in business or anything you do, even working at McDonald's, it is computer now. It's actually not a register. It is a POS system. You need to have a basis in computers or some kind of understanding of technology to work anywhere.
Yeah. But nobody's patting these teachers in the back.
And they should.
That for 30 years did this and now have to change to this. And they go, okay, there should be some, hey, you did. That's amazing. Wait, thanks for learning this. Thanks for changing. Thanks for adapting. Let
me throw something at you, and you tell me what you think. What if there was a different tier system each year for Teacher of the Year? What if there was a
Veteran of the Year?
New
Teacher of the Year and Veteran Teacher of the Year.
How about that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
I think that would actually work.
Yeah, that might be something that inspires some change.
Yeah,
but I mean, I just think they need to be acknowledged a little more.
They do.
Because, again, it's a lot of old teachers, too, going, I'm out. And I want to go, why? So we have a lot of people that come up to us at the Board Teachers Comedy Show, and they walk up and they go, I'm retiring. And they all go, I'm retiring. And I go, oh, how long did you teach? And a lot of them, 20 years, 22 years.
That's a long time.
25 years. That's a long time, but that's not retirement years.
Gotcha.
Retirement years is 30.
I've been there 35, 40 years.
Yeah. I would expect to hear that. There's a lot of teachers that go, I retired, and I go, when did you retire? Oh, 40 years. But the current retiring
is 20
because they're like, I'm out. And I go, why, I don't you remember, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'd love to hear people's opinions on this. Don't you remember when you were younger, teachers like almost had to be forced to retire?
I remember them being older and distinguished.
Don't you remember sometimes they literally would be like, no, you have to leave. But they loved their job. And they were like, this is what I like to do.
This school was founded in 1920 and you were there.
You were there. You laid the first brick.
We have to ask you to leave.
Yeah, it's named after you. Normally that happens when people die. You're still here.
My mind is sharp as a tack. I'm over here.
Yeah. But honestly, I sit here and I'm like, I remember when I was young, I'd have teachers retire and then they'd be back the next year.
Really?
Yeah, because they'd be like, I just missed it too much. School started and I wasn't there and I wanted to be there. And it's like, oh, you're back. Or they'd start subbing. You ever see retired teachers sub?
I used to see that when I was in, I want to say like middle school.
Yeah.
I would see them come back.
Because they felt an appreciation, I think, too. It was like everybody knew that's the veteran teacher. And I want to ask this too.
There's a sense of respect they got.
Yeah, and I want to ask this too. And I need you to listen in the comments on YouTube, wherever you're at. Is there an incentive to be a senior teacher anymore in your school? So what I saw as a senior perk went away while I was teaching. When I first started teaching, being an older teacher, being there the longest meant you got the better classes. You got the honors classes. You got to pick. You got to go, you know what? I want econ. And then they go, okay, great. So we'll give this to the new guy. They can take the ninth grade world, geography, human geography. They can take, this, they can take that. And they would always get the harder courses. Mm-hmm. When I first started teaching, I got the hardest courses. I got intensive reading right off the bat. Mm-hmm. And it was under a microscope. It was difficult. I had students that failed several times.
Yeah.
And they were a little bit more difficult. I had packed classes. The senior, older teachers got the classes that had fewer kids. Mm-hmm. It was like, man, I got to keep working because that's what I want.
You couldn't stop.
I want their schedule. Mm-hmm. Halfway through me teaching, it went away.
But what led to that?
That we needed to move people, and I think there was like some butt kissing. I think there was some new teachers that smooshed.
Gotcha.
Schmoozed. Yeah, with the smooshed. Is that a word? Schmoozed? I don't know.
Schmoozed.
Yeah. So they got buddy with the admin.
Makes sense.
And they were new, and they were always in the office. And it's like, what are you doing down there?
Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden the next year they get the perfect schedule. And I complained.
Oh, you were that guy?
I did. I said, I need a meeting. And I literally sat in the meeting. I said, why does he get one prep of the easiest subject to teach, the half-year course with the fewer students? And I, who have been here longer, do not. And literally the admin looked at me and goes, well, he had a deal. And I was like,
what?
Yep. And I go, you just said the quiet part out loud.
Yeah. The part you're supposed to whisper.
Yeah.
You said it.
And they're like, no, he had a special deal. She literally said, and I'll never forget this. It's so wild. I never remember this to this point. We sat there with a full list of all the courses. And I said, why am I getting shafted with 4 different preps? Mm-hmm. And I've been here longer than these teachers that get one prep.
Yes.
That doesn't make sense. And she goes, well, what do you want to teach? I said, that. And I pointed to his schedule. And she goes, well, you can't have that one. And I go, why? He's been here a year. And she's like, he has a deal. And I said, and I mean, I gritted my teeth. And I was like, a deal? Okay. Can I deal? Because I would like deal too.
You were like, hit me.
Please. Or just hit me. Just hit me. I was shocked. I was like, you said the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
Now we know there is favoritism here for something going on.
Was it a private meeting or was it?
It was a private meeting.
Okay. Because I thought at first you meant like it was all the teachers and they're like, yeah, he had a deal.
No, I complained in an email. I said, look, and then she come down to my office. We'll talk about it. And eventually they did change one of my classes. But the funny thing was, when they finally went to change it, it made no sense why they had it that way in the first place. So
there you go.
Picture this. There was a teacher that taught government, and there was a teacher that taught economics. Mm-hmm. And there was classes at the same period where we didn't have that same topic. Mm-hmm. He had an economics and I had a government. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why do that? And they're like, I don't know. I said, we can literally just switch the classes and then we can all teach the same thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh. and they're like, yeah, well, if he wants to, of course he wants to. I don't have to go down there and even ask him.
Yeah.
And of course I went down there and he goes, you teach that subject the same time I teach your subject? I said, yeah. He goes, well, why'd they do that? I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, how do we fix it? I said, we get a deal. No, I'm just kidding.
I love that.
But yeah,
teachers are at home right now. Listen, deal.
Yeah, deal. Make the deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did we need to show up in Halloween costumes? Like, come on down.
My name is Crazy James. We're making deals.
Dude, I that part made me so mad. And so that's one of the things that as a senior teacher, I was always under the impression you get the better schedule, the better classes, the better class sizes, you get the better room.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
And parking spot.
You get a better parking spot too. But I remember the room too. You got to choose your room and you got the bigger room. Like I remember always going to school being like, wow, look at the size of this room. It's like, yeah, I've been here 30 years. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Where's those perks?
Not gone.
Gone. I just think that there should be something there. And that meeting that new teacher of the year, she was youthful, full of life,
Gotcha.
Great teacher, I'm sure. But I
Positive.
was like, just once, I would like to see that 60-year-old teacher walk on stage and accept the Teacher of the Year award and go, you know what? You really earned this,
Yeah, you did.
And by the way, you get the classes you want this year. And by the way, you get the perks because we're not getting the pay bonus.
No.
We're getting a little trickle down theory from the top.
I say bring that back.
What?
Actually giving incentives to people.
Yeah.
You've been there. It's tenure. You've been there the longest. You get certain things at your job, man.
You should, especially because in our district they took away tenure, so they don't even have that anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could I say something? Could I just challenge people at home right now? If you're not a teacher, you're a parent, you're a person that likes this show, you can change a teacher's entire day by bringing them a coffee, bringing them a treat they like, bringing them a Starbucks just to change it up.
Yep.
To show some appreciation. We don't have to wait for an award to do it as parents.
No.
And we used to do that all the time for our teachers, our kids' teachers. And they would just be like, what's this for? Just thank you for helping my son.
Yeah,
Thank you for what you do. Yeah, I appreciate it.
That's true. Because you say that, I look for incentives, but I always look for incentives from the admin or from, school systems. And there's, if I teach 120 kids, there's 120 opportunities for incentives for them to.
Imagine if you were, still teaching and you just had a parent, hey, man, just want to say thanks, brother. Here you go.
Yeah.
You'd be like, that would change your day.
Yep.
It honestly would. You'd be like, man, thank you. Because that's all I think people want is to be appreciated
I
in
would
some
look
way.
at them and I'd go, you want a deal? What deal do you want?
What can I do to change Timmy C minus?
Yeah, exactly. Well, is this a Target gift card? He's got a B plus.
Does that say Amazon?
He's got an A for Amazon. A for Amazon.
Yeah, parents do that. I challenge you.
Yeah, but also teachers don't change grades for gift cards.
I challenge you not to do that.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about something at the end that I want you to chime in on. So
Okay.
Let's jump into the teachers in the news. Former art teacher continuing to share her gift. And this is a Marilyn McCain apparently is getting some recognition for her talents at the Steubenville Visitor Center. Steubenville, I do not know where that is, what state. All I see is Steubenville. So if you're around Steubenville and you're like, hey, that's my city, go visit this art teacher's gallery.
Nice.
She's showing and selling pieces. Apparently is an art teacher who in the past used to give her pieces away. And apparently decided, you know what, I've got a talent. I used to be a teacher. And she's now 73 and says, you know what, I've got a love of art. I want to share it. I love seeing that. I love seeing teachers that take their talents and then expand it. I've seen a lot of art teachers that sell their art on the side.
Yeah.
I've seen music teachers that do musical lessons and sell their love of music on the side and make money off of their passion.
You're right.
So I think that's great.
I'm a guy that likes art. I do art on myself. I had a teacher, an art teacher I'll never forget, and this is his real name. His name was Mr. Kraft.
Oh,
that was his real last name.
Perfect.
That is perfect. He was literally born to be an art teacher.
Right.
But I will never forget how good he was. Like, I remember him, like, the quality of what he did. I was like, man, this guy should be famous. So I love seeing that as a guy who appreciates art and do a little bit on the side. Go make that money. Go get your bag,
to have your own that's pretty cool to have your own art show.
That's not bad at all.
And to be honest with you, I see some of the art that she's done, and it's fantastic. Some amazing pencil sketches. Yeah, it looks like all mediums too, which is really cool. So if you like something, stop by, support an art teacher. She's 73 years old, finally putting her art up for auction. Do a little bit of supporting of that if you're in Steubenville. Steubenville. That sounds made up.
Like a town on a TV show.
Right, like Truman Show, that's where they lived. All right, this one, so I got some emails about the Fresno strike. There was about to be a strike in Fresno. It's been called off. They finally reached a deal. One of these was a little bit underhanded. They were getting it kind of makes you mad, but the school district in Fresno authorized during a strike, they wanted to fill the temporary vacancies, but there was a problem. The teachers were supported by the substitute teachers, and they didn't want to shut down the school, so they offered them $500 a day to cross the picket line, how much do you sell your soul for, James? Do you do it?
Ooh, my number. I have a number.
5. I'll be honest.
I
It's right around that.
will say this, man. The cause is just, but man, what teachers don't make. Subs don't make that. That was tempting for them. That was quite tempting.
Especially because these teachers, if they cross the picket line, it said, the union specifically said they won't be blacklisted, but it may damage the personal relationships with other teachers in their fight for a fair contract.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like if right now Brad Pitt said, you know what, I think I'm going to go make a movie real quick, and everybody's like, hey, we're on strike,
right? Yeah,
and he's like, yeah, but pretty good paycheck over there.
Yeah,
then people that would be like, well, I don't ever want to work with Brad Pitt again.
Yeah.
He's not supporting us, know? And so it was kind of underhanded for them to toss such a big number at him.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, but also it's kind of infuriating because you're sitting there trying to negotiate and they go, we don't have any money. And then it's like, but you just... Yeah, what?
Yeah.
It's literally a Roadrunner and Coyote which way to Albuquerque moment because you're like confused, like I don't know what's going on.
Wait a minute, this check says Acme.
But apparently the 95% of the substitute teachers agreed to continue during the strike, and they typically make $200 a day. They wanted to give them $500. Here's what you should do. You should, and I know that they've already ratified this contract, negotiated it. Fresno did not go on strike. Good. But I think as part of it, they should have put in there, and the new pay for teachers who are substitutes is $500, since you've already agreed to it.
Yes.
I think, honestly, that should have been in there. That's what we're going to give you from now on. But, yeah, I don't know. It's insulting. The good news is they worked it out. But I did receive some emails to talk about it. If it hadn't have been resolved, I would have talked about it more. But good news is it looks like both sides reached an agreement.
Thank God, because a strike, not good for either side.
No, that's not good at all. Okay, Nevada has an interesting little thing here. They are giving $10 million in Nevada in state money to pay for teachers' donors choose projects. I think that's cool.
$10 million?
Yeah, $10 million. So up to $500 per teacher in materials they're requesting for their classroom. They can start up a Donors Choose and then have the state give $500 towards that Donors Choose.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all, especially because I think that this is a lot better because they're actually reaching the money that the money's going to where the teachers need it most in their classroom. Sometimes as teachers we would be given, I hated it, but we were given a little packet, and they'd say, order out of this packet, you have $180. Well, I didn't need anything in the packet.
No.
I don't need more colored pencils. I got those last year.
Yes.
I don't need more staples. I got plenty.
Yes.
The things that I need, not in the packet. And so the Donors Choose can hopefully get the outside the packet stuff funded.
The stuff you need.
Yeah, and the good news is a lot of times through Donors Choose, as much as people love to conspiracize about Bill Gates, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation will match on there all the time. Millions and millions of dollars.
You've told me that before.
I donate when they match.
Okay.
So sometimes people will send me Donors Choose, and I usually always put money towards it, but I might wait. They're always like, oh, he didn't donate to my Donors Choose. Not yet. I'm just waiting for the email that all the matches are happening, and then I go in because I want my money to count twice.
That's right.
I recently you sent me, somebody was looking for money for their Donors Choose.
Absolutely.
And I donated right away because...
And thank you for doing that.
Yeah, because they had a match on there. And I said, great, I'll give $25. They get $50. And they sent me an email, big thank you, and I try to help out teachers as much as I can.
Now, we got to preface that by saying we can't help everyone. Like, if you're having a bake sale at the elementary, we can't necessarily,
I don't know, James. I think we can. We have a lovely cake here that says yes.
Where's it at? Steuben? Or what's it called? Steubenville?
Yeah, I'm going to go up to Steubenville and buy art.
Yeah, there you go.
But I want to say something real quick on that Donors Choose thing. It's cool, but teachers, don't forget. I just want to remind you, because I've seen this happen so many times with teachers in their classroom. If it's bought on Donors Choose, especially if it's using state money now, it belongs to the school.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get that laptop and we go, wow, I have a laptop. You don't have the laptop. It was bought through Donors Choose for your school. They will come by. They will stick their stamp on it. They will have you fill out paperwork going, it's technology that you're using in your classroom, but it belongs to us. And when you leave, guess what? They get it back.
That's right.
Whatever's bought on Donors Choose has to stay in the classroom.
Yeah.
And they've tried to fight that legally. I've seen teachers get reprimanded and money pulled from their own checks because they've taken things from Donors Choose as personal stuff.
Gotcha.
And I get that you use it in your classroom and you go, oh, well, I'm done and I'm moving to a different classroom, a different district.
Can't use it.
You can't. That district didn't pay for it. You know, they did. And especially now. I'm just letting you know, with those funds, I always it's like, here's the check. What's the catch?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I always kind of worry about. All right. This one. In the 90s, New York began requiring aspiring educators to take an exam. Thousands of people claimed that the test was racially biased.
Oh.
There is a $1.8 billion lawsuit in New York over a test that they say was racially biased, and apparently it was not being passed by African Americans and Hispanics as often as white employees, but also it costs a lot of money. That's the thing about these state tests that they always say is, hey, you have to pass this test, and we go, okay, and they go, by the way, it's $200 every time you take it, and you might fail it 7 or 8 times. But you can't be in the classroom until you pass it.
Well, explain something to me, a guy that's ignorant because he doesn't know, he's not a teacher, as a parent. Why would a test cost $200 per taking it?
Because it's a private company that wants $200 every time you take it, and they signed an agreement with the state. They made a deal, James.
Okay.
They made a deal.
So they don't just sell you the whole program and it's yours to do what you want with it.
Oh, no.
No, these people have to regulate it after you take it.
And you have to have a certain amount of people passing it for it to be valid, but a lot of times it's just within 1 or 2 points you can miss out and not get certified. You can lose your career if you never pass it. I mean, imagine going to school for 4 years to become a teacher,
and then you can't
and then
pass
you get
this
there and you
test?
can't pass the exam to.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it says that it was interesting that a big, substantial amount of people are suing them, and it has a nickname, by the way, in teacher groups.
Okay.
And I will not say it on this podcast because I don't want it canceled.
Okay.
But it is a teacher eliminator is essentially what they say.
Oh, gotcha.
And that's what they nicknamed the test in the 90s, that it was a way of getting rid of black educators.
Got it.
And so, I mean, and nobody can argue that there's a substantially higher number of white educators in the United States. And, why is this? Well, according to statistics, this test was not passed by black and Hispanic people as often as whites. And so where did that come from? A lot of people say the test was rigged. So it was a class action lawsuit filed, and it has dragged on. By the way, this goes to show you how fast our system is. This lawsuit was filed, James, in 1996.
But
it is just now being brought before the courts.
That's crazy because me and this lawsuit can go to our high school reunion at this point, man.
And you know what? Somebody's literally sitting there going, I would have been teaching for 30 years. And I think that you have a good lawsuit here. Give me back pay. I was forced to fail this test.
Bro, but you probably make a very valid point. We're joking, but there's probably a lot of people who wanted to become teachers in New York but just couldn't pass that test.
Yep. And then that's
crazy.
It. Now, the same thing happened in Florida,
Oh, sir, color me surprised.
Yeah, they had to actually change the test, I believe. But
really,
I think this would be a lot easier if the state would just pay for the test to be taken.
That's crazy.
All the time it comes out of the teachers' pockets.
Yeah, I did not know that. $200.
But I'm not going to lie. Now that I think about it,
yeah,
if it was the state's money,
yeah,
I might feel it a few times.
Just because.
Just to get back.
Sir,
go.
You answered A for everyone. I know.
Yeah. Mr. Siebold, you're coming back to teaching? No.
Just taking the test.
Just taking the test.
You filled out 5 booklets. I know.
Yeah. It's like, see you next week. Yes. Well, you might. No, I won't. Just got to get even.
That's funny. That's funny.
All right. Now, this one, if this seems like deja vu, it is.
Here we go.
A Missouri teacher wants to get even spicier on her OnlyFans account.
Here we go.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing that caught me off guard.
No.
All right. Just a few weeks ago, we talked about a teacher with a OF account.
Yes.
Okay. And how they were outed and it was a big deal. But guess what? They're banking now.
They are.
That got all over the news. Then comes the second one, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth. And it'll keep on going. Because guess what? It gets a lot of news traction.
It does.
And they get a lot of subscribers. And then they don't have to teach no more.
Nope.
Well, this one teaches at the same school as the last one. James, they're at the same school. Here's the wild thing, man. She hasn't been fired yet. She's thinking it's coming because she posts on her OnlyFans and stuff like that.
And
now, here's the wild thing, too. They didn't know each of them had it.
That's funny.
Yeah, everybody thinks this one. It's got a big interview with her on there, and they're like talking about it, and they're like, "So you're copied off of her, right?" Because she saw how much money she was making. She's like, "No, we started at the same time. We didn't even know each other had it."
That's no.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask really quick for people like me who don't know this. Why are you fired as a teacher if you have an OnlyFans? What's the basis of you getting fired?
We teachers are held to a different moral standard, and you're supposed to, be a model, not online.
Okay, I was gonna say.
But it's weird. But I was actually, the funny thing is next episode I'm going to bring that up, where teachers are held to a different candle, and we go, it's a little brighter over here, and we're going to illuminate more of your life.
It doesn't seem fair.
And we don't. Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't seem right.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
because you're not doing anything illegal.
No, but they just don't want the rumors getting around, and the students, especially when you teach, kids finding out that your teacher's doing something that is, they're not supposed to be accessing. They're going to try to access it, and I don't know. It is a weird thing.
It's a gray area, but it's a little weird
especially because it has a paywall.
Yes, that's why I'm confused.
It has a paywall. It's like a don't come in here.
Yeah.
This is, I go to comedy clubs and would talk at comedy clubs, and people are like, aren't you worried about what you're saying? No, because it's 21 and up. They can't come in. I don't want my students in the audience.
No.
And this one, I mean, technically, her students shouldn't be in the audience,
How could they?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's a wall to check all that stuff or anything, but, who knows? But apparently, she's making a lot of money. And it said that she's got 1,500 subscribers even before her name got out there. And she originally deleted it when it was found out. And then she saw her friend make a lot of money and said, activate.
There you go.
And decided, okay, I guess this is what we're doing. But the interesting thing is that this is a very sad tale as well. This said, it's sad hearing her describe her love of teaching because she clearly has a love of teaching. And it seems like she would be a very good person in the classroom.
Yes.
And even reading about it, it says that she really wanted to be, she taught Honors English 3, Middle English, and actually, as crazy as it is, has 2 master's degree in education.
She worked her butt off to become a teacher.
Yeah, and she said the reason she originally deleted it is because she didn't want that getting out. She wanted to continue teaching.
Yeah.
Now, what's sad is she's probably not going to be able to continue teaching.
Probably not.
And the reason that she gave, by the way, do you want to guess the reason that she literally said, this is why I have to do this?
Money, of course, but there's a reason that she has to get
student
this money.
loans.
Are you
She said, I can't afford my student loans. And 6 months in, she got a forbearance, and then they start the payments.
Yes.
And she said the second they came in, her teacher pay did not cover her bills and her student loans. Had to pay student loans. How do I do this? Second job, well, I'm exhausted already.
It's not going to cut it.
I'm an attractive person. Maybe there's people that want to see me, and
I can tell you as a father of a kid with a master's degree, with one of them, it's costly. She has 2. So I can imagine what her student loans must be.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of stuff. I mean, let's start to subsidize some of that. And let's start to, if people are going for master's degrees or regular degrees in education, I think some of that should be paid.
I'm with you. If you are studying to be a teacher and do something in the education field, there should be some kind of tuition forgiveness.
I agree. Yep. All right. This last one is an interesting one. This is not a teacher in the news. This is a question that I have for you.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I read this and, I have my own thoughts on it, and I'm sure teachers will have their own thoughts on it, and I would love their thoughts on it. But this was on Slate. So Slate has a lot of question and answer. People write in, and the editors or the knowledgeable people answer the question. This one pertained to teaching. And this one kind of, I don't know. I feel, I'll read it.
Okay.
We recently had our first parent-teacher conference for our 4-year-old daughter in her transitional kindergarten, okay? The teacher had nothing positive to say about my child, except that she was very smart, briefly. She then went in to say my daughter is bossy and interrupts her sometimes. She also said my daughter wasn't always following instructions. It honestly sounded like she was very annoyed with my child overall. I tried asking questions about what was being done for discipline and what we could do at home to support our kid, and she didn't answer either question, but just kept giving more examples where my daughter wasn't acting as she wanted. My daughter's never received this type of feedback from previous teachers or care providers, and is a very sweet kid with lots of friends. I'm so sad my kid's teacher seems not to like her, but worse, labeled her as bossy, inattentive, and disruptive. Not once were these framed as positive attributes, confident and assertive, etc., nor were solutions provided. She said bossy many times, over 10, when describing my child. For what it's worth, the teacher is white and my daughter is not. It is not an option to switch schools until next year. How do I make sure this teacher is treating my child fairly with kindness and respect and cannot speak about my child positively?
Okay, first thing that jumped out in my head as you were reading that, the child is 4 years old.
Yep, that jumped out first.
4. All the things that you're describing that the child is doing, their behavior, sounds right on par with a 4-year-old. It sounds like everything that they do, being that age. I don't know many kids that are just perfectly attentive, stay quiet all the time at 4.
No.
They're just learning social skills. They're just learning like how to interact with adults,
Yeah,
man.
and they're also learning negative things that sometimes do need to be corrected.
Absolutely.
You know, there can be bossy children.
Yes.
And you got to go, hey, so here's the thing. This is a person of respectable nature that we need to talk in a different manner to, you know, for sure.
Everything has to do with approach.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Also, when she said my daughter's 4, the teacher had nothing positive to say, and her previous teachers? Plural?
Yeah, plural. Like
previous teachers?
Yeah.
I'm struggling on that part. I don't, but
I do have some advice though.
yeah, okay, go ahead.
I would want to know. As a parent, I always wanted to know. If a teacher ever says something that I deem to be negative about my child, I would try not to get in defensive mode.
Right.
I would try to learn. So what I would do, if she's saying my child is all these things, I would talk to other parents of that same teacher. I would kind of get their opinion on what do you think about her? What's the feedback you've gotten on your kids? And do you find it to be a little bit, Yeah,
and are there other non-white children in the class? Are they being talked about in the
there's
same
some things
manner?
you can do. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I would talk to other parents about the teacher. And I would actually check the parent, not the parent, but the teacher's history, their experience.
Sure.
Have they had complaints? How long have they taught?
And all that's public record.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's different ways to do about this and become immediately defensive. But
yes.
One of the things that stuck out to me was where she said, my daughter was labeled as bossy, inattentive, and disruptive. Not once were they framed as the positive attributes, confident, assertive, etc.
Yeah. That one was a little...
confident, assertive. Okay, so you're taking the negative things that your child seems to be doing,
yes,
and literally creating a fake scenario in your head of going, oh no, that's just her being confident.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe
she
is being bossy.
Yeah,
maybe she is being inattentive. These are things that maybe you could also, as a teacher, go watch.
Yes.
Sometimes we go, I remember, and you're going to say what happened to my kid. My kid got kicked out of a preschool.
What?
Yep, kicked out of preschool. He was very destructive, and was very much, he was ADHD.
Okay.
But in a kind of environment where it was not compatible with him.
Got it.
And he was destructive. He wouldn't sit down. He wouldn't do the reading time, and he was causing a scene.
Yes.
Now, what I did is I heard about it, and at first I went, my child?
Yeah.
Oh, he's different at home. That can't be.
Yeah.
So I went, talked with him, and the next day I said, you know what? I'm going to stop by. and I left work early.
I like
and
that.
I went down and I just watched through the window, and it just as creepy as can be, unannounced. I wanted to see the truth.
Yeah.
And my kid was destroying the room. And,
Really?
And I just walked in and I said, "Is that what we do?" And he just
Because he did not expect to see Dad.
froze.
No.
Yeah, I said, "That is not how we act," And we tried to correct his actions, and luckily, at the time, I was just leaving teaching to go pursue comedy for a little bit. I only left for like 4 months, and then I went back. And when I left for those 4 months, I was going to leave only for like 3-4 weeks because I was going to do the tour of Australia.
Yeah.
Then they said, "Hey, we can't deal with him anymore." And I said, "Okay, I'll take him home. We'll correct these actions at home."
Gotcha.
And I did. I corrected the actions, and when he went back into a structured classroom environment, he was a different child. He knew how to respect people. He knew not to destroy things, and it was a work on my part.
Okay.
I credit myself. I'll give myself a little bit
There
of
you
a
go,
single
brother.
dad. I was at the time molding my child, and that's what sometimes we need to go. You know what they're for. Are they doing destructive behaviors? Are they, maybe I do need to look better at my child from the eyes of other people, not just the eyes of a parent, which are always rose-colored
And
glasses.
always blinders on. And I love the fact you did that because it took me a while to learn that. You got to find out. You got to get more information. Don't go in defense mode, because I remind parents of this all the time. For the most part, those teachers are on your side.
Yeah.
They are. They just want your student to do well.
And parents, I want to remind you of something.
Yeah.
You were a kid once.
Yes.
Think of how many times you lied to your mom or dad.
Oh, my God.
About your behavior, and think about that. And I mean, I lied as a kid. I would mess up in school, and I would say that teacher.
Yeah.
It wasn't a teacher. It was me.
Me.
I look
Yes.
back on it and go, I did that.
Yeah.
I was the jerk. Think about yourself just for a moment. Did you do that? And
Yeah.
then go, you know what? Maybe my own blood is doing the same thing,
Yes.
because there's a good chance
I looked at my kids. The force is strong in that one, because I remember with me.
Now, that's not to say there aren't hateful teachers out there. Sometimes teachers,
Unfortunately, yes.
sometimes teachers do have a thing against a student.
Because they're human.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have heard some teachers say some unfavorable things about kids that I go, that's a child.
Yeah, you shouldn't be. Yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Let's give them a chance. You know, and there are some teachers that have certain mentalities, and hopefully that gets squashed over time through reprimands, people learning and going, hey, you can't be that way to kids.
No, you can't.
So yeah. Anyways, all right, let's wrap this up, and then we'll rewatch the video and talk about what we were gonna talk about in the beginning.
That's so funny.
At the end
That's
of
right.
the next podcast at the beginning. So,
That's so
anyways, thank you so much for listening and sharing this podcast and rating
Thank
it
you, guys.
5-star. You guys have been awesome. Our 1-year anniversary, we have only you to thank, and we have many, many, many more episodes to do as well. And keep sending in your suggestions, keep sharing the podcast, and let's blow this thing up and be back here for a second year, a year from now. So,
Yeah.
James, how can people find you online?
I want to say thank you, first off, for helping me hit 7,000 followers on Instagram. I was around 2,500 last year.
Yeah.
So this is great
That's
for
huge.
me. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much. You can always get me at the same place, James Yon Comedian, on Facebook and on Instagram. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. And devincomedy.com for my upcoming tour dates. Hope you see you at the Board Teacher shows. Ran out of air.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for supporting us. And we'll be back next week with a brand new Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. There might be a clip up there. There might be a clip down there. If it's got our face, if it's other people's stuff, come back. Don't click on that. But us suggested things. That's us. Crying in My Car. Devin Siebold, James Yon, Board Teachers. Watch. New trailer for Indiana Jones. No, don't do that. Don't do that.